So, I just read a few, just a few scriptures from the Old Testament and New Testament. Like I said earlier, all the way through it, it talks about He made everything, He created, He made it, and He made it for Him, for His pleasure. And like I said, there's all kinds, all the way through. There were, when I got out my Strong's Concordance and was looking up words and kind of just going through, how you can just look up words to see where they're all at and kind of read over. It's everywhere. And I had never really realized how much it talked about how that God made us in His image and He made it for Him, and how it talked about it all the way through the Bible. I just kind of always thought it was just in Genesis, where it talked about how, He made everything and created. And I never really imagined that it was all the way through the Bible that He, just in verses here and there that He talks about how He made us and why He made us and how He made us. Has anybody got any questions or comments?
I just had a thought. The blind man that Jesus healed, remember what He used?
Yeah, Clayton picked up the mud and water, made mud pies.
I know it was an act of obedience on His part. He could have just spoken into existence, but He didn't. He used that.
Yeah. And then also the leper, what did He tell him to do? Go wash 7 times in Jordan? Well, that was the nastiest water there was. A muddy river. And then what about the man that laid at the pool of Siloam? What did he have to do? He had to get in and when the water was stirred. I mean, if you really, we could probably go on and on, but if you really think about it, God just took the things that He made us out of to heal us. And and I got to, when I first got in church and got to reading them, and wondering how, why these people live so long. Who would want to live 600-something years on this earth? And, when people, dying so young and everything today, but you got to think, everything was pure, from the beginning, when He made. And everybody that was born then, they ate from the earth. They ate, they grew their vegetables and they grew everything. And they didn't have all that chemicals and all that stuff that we have today. And so, I think that's one reason why they live so long. And of course, God, let them live. But all in all, they ate healthy, because all they were eating was from the ground. I bet they didn't have a lot of fat people back then. I bet they did. I bet, it didn't come, they couldn't have if you'd have just eaten berries and grapes and stuff you grow, and then, and there's a lot of meat, they wouldn't eat unclean, they wouldn't eat hogs and chickens, and, so that's one reason why I think a lot of them lived a long time too, and God let them, of course, but then as you go, get on in the years, we have all the chemicals and everything now that we put in the earth and put on our food and the processing and all that stuff. And I think that's where a lot of our diseases come from, because you get it in with those 7 electrolytes that come from the earth, and it mixes in there, and it's not supposed to be there. And that's why we get the diseases and stuff that we get, is because of the chemicals and stuff that kind of clash with the electrolytes.
I think, it says He didn't shorten the days, He wouldn't be any flesh saved. I think that's got more than one meaning. And I think too, we kill ourselves with insecticides, and we used to kill our own meat. We bled our hogs and stuff, all that. So it's got a twofold meaning.
So, has anybody got anything they want to add? Okay.
Testing. I know there's other foods besides bananas, but you say testing your mind off that you go something else. Well, it's strange that the testing of the earth got into bananas.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, you can think about it, it comes from the earth. And so everything is grown, banana trees, and it's grown, from the earth. So But just think about the other things it has it, and by no means am I a good nutritionist, but just like the summer squash, you know, your vegetables, some of your vegetables, your summer squash and stuff like that has potassium too. So it just, you know, it's just in there. Oranges, yeah.
Calcium.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about our bodies are sometimes seeks inefficiencies, you know, and we don't even know it. You know, you'll be watching television and all of a sudden you get a craving for salt, for that sodium. Or, you know, I've seen instances where you're talking about children eating dirt. You know, their body mechanisms tells them that they need these elements, and they'll go out and try to find it. And there's places, you know, in the earth where they don't have salt, so people will backward countries, they will travel for miles and miles to the seashore or a place where there's salt because their body has to have it. And like you said, if these elements are not kept in balance, the body can't exist. So our body has a mechanism that'll tell us when we need a certain element.
And you know, you hear a lot of people that crave different things. You know, ice. You know, a lot of people have to eat ice or salt, or you know, and you know, there's a lot of people that crave you know, dirt and stuff like that, and that's what Brother Gary's talking about, that mechanism, because all these electrolytes are found in that because that's what you're made from. You know, I just think it's just a miracle in itself, you know, and you know, I used to think differently until I got into the medical field and kind of really got to, you know, looking and learning and having to learn, you know, and but you know, a lot of people in the medical field don't even know. I mean, they know their electrolytes and stuff, but they don't know how it came about, where they're found, why they're there, or anything. That's just like yesterday we were at work and I thought, I'll give y'all a little quiz. And I said, do y'all know where the Cadusa come from? And they said, Cadusa? What's that? And I said, you're in the medical field and you don't know what a Cadusa is. And I said, no. I said, well, let me tell you, it's that medical symbol that you go by, that's the rod, it's got the two snakes on it. And I said, oh, yeah, is that what it's called? I said, yep. And I said, do you know where it came from? Nope. I said, well, let me tell you where it come from. I said, when the children of Israel was out in the desert and they were getting bitten by all these snakes, God told Moses to put up a rod and an image of a snake, and when they got bit by them snakes, all they had to do was look up on that and they'd be healed. And they were just dumbfounded, you know. They just couldn't believe it, that's where it came from. And of course, there was another lady I worked with, and she was over there going, yep, that's right. You know, she goes to church and I think she said, that's exactly right. You know, so I had a little backup there. She's Catholic, but, you know, she knew where it come from. So, but, you know, just, you know, people just don't, you know, in the medical field, they don't realize, they just, you know, but I think it's interesting, you know, to know that I was made by God from dirt and clay and water and all that stuff.
I never heard that term.
Cadusa, that's what it's called. Cadusa. Yeah, Cadusa. Yep. Does anybody else got anything, Brother Dish, you want to say something?
Yeah, the other day on the news there, they had a study at the university, and where, you know, you had to get so much salt. Now they're killing now that you need more salt. And they just showed that the other day, you know, it's not a lot, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing, they didn't listen to that house.
But now they're saying that that study, that was just on the other day.
Right. Exactly. Because each one of these electrolytes has a certain range that they have to be in, and I'm not going to go into all that, but You know, each one of them has a range. Of course, when you go to the doctor or whatever, and they draw your blood, that's what they're checking. Because a lot of times, whether it's high or low, you can be confused, and, you can be lethargic, and, everything can be going on. And like if your potassium's too high or too low, it can put you into a heart attack or anything, So it's just like, it all works with those 7 elements work with every system in your body. And there's no other answer or no other except for God. He made us from the dirt, and that's where it came from, and that's just how our body functions. And I think I'd fight that tooth and nail till I die. Because, that's just, being researching it and reading it, there's just proof after proof after proof of it, so.
But the farm's got a lot of healing problems too. Sprains and stuff like that. So, salt water.
Yeah.
Cuts.
That's right.
So I guess we could say that you create from the earth, mankind, with wisdom and knowledge, we polluted
Yep. Yeah. And we've polluted our body. In all reality, we've polluted our bodies, because we've come up with the insecticides and all the stuff and all the steroids and everything they're putting in the cows and the chickens. I was amazed the other day we were talking about this. They can have a chicken made in like a week to take it to the slaughter for Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever. Yeah, steroids. I was just amazed. They grow a chicken in a week to 2 weeks to take it and have it, sold to Kentucky Fried Chicken or Lee's or whatever, And that's stuff we eat, all the time.
I've heard that's why the young girls are developing so fast.
Yes, sure. I wouldn't doubt it. So,
Shoot
yeah.
them up with chicken nuggets.
Yeah. My grandbaby, she needs chicken nuggets over anything. She needs them 3 times a day, 7 days a week if you let her. So, you just got to think. But, anybody else got anything? I think we've got about 5 minutes. I didn't go into a lot of detail, but I just kind of wanted to hit the high spots and.
It's potassium in the crust.
Yeah.
Okay, so that summer squash and that broccoli and all that, they're pulling that potassium up through the roots.
Has to be. Because the sodium and the potassium are the 2 that's found in the Earth's crust. Can you just, in the theater of your mind, God was out there one day and he said, okay, I'm going to make man. So here he gets in a pile of dirt.
Yeah.
He just kind of piles it up, and he just starts forming it. I can see that, just forming it up. Like his leg, I think I'll make 5 toes on this one, 5 on the other.
He made man, he said, I can do better. He made woman.
That's right. He made man, he said, I can do better than that, so he made a woman. No comment, no comment.
God made man and rested. God made woman and Ellen was rested.
Did y'all hear that? God made a man and he rested, and then he made a woman and ain't nobody rested since. All right. Anybody else got anything?
Breathed into the dirt man and woke up.
And he breathed into his nostrils and gave him life. And that's exactly what we have to continue on, oxygen and air. So you're just a ball of dirt, mud pie, you're just a mud pie with a little bit of oxygen in you, basically. That's all I got.